Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Hello again, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us here at KAKM for Sunday's Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Dave Percy. Again, the website's due to change on July 6th, so before that day, tomorrow or the next day or this evening, go to the different websites here and check them out, but don't bookmark or favorite any of these sites yet until after July 6th. And moving on to the warning chart here, there's a flood watch out for the Denali Park area, and that watch is out through Tuesday afternoon due to all the rain they've had up there, and rivers and small streams are running bank full, and so the potential for flooding is due to the additional rain in the forecast, the potential for flooding does exist. And fire danger pretty sparse here over the central and eastern interior. We've got a patch over the northern southeast coast there, also up in that area, but where it's been dry over the north slope and then down across the Selawik Valley, northwest areas here, Seward Peninsula into the Yukon, and some of the Kuskokwim Delta. Still some high fire danger, but nothing extreme. And for satellite imagery, a lot of clouds here over south central Alaska, northward into the interior, all the way over to Canada, and some higher stuff up along the Arctic coast up there. Another pretty nice day, dry conditions back to the west. There was a little bit of moisture here from Barrow on down to the southwest, a little bit of light rain, but nothing too significant, and some fog over at Point Lay. Otherwise, pretty nice day here down to the southwest, and a weak trough here edging its way eastward, but otherwise mostly dry day with partly sunny skies in areas there for the Panhandle. And then this next system pushing east and northeastward here probably will spread some rain into Kodiak Island later tonight and make for a cloudy, wet day tomorrow. And lots of clouds continue here over the central southern Bering Sea down to the Aleutians. We've got a trough out in here that's slowly coming southeastward, but not moving all that fast. And a pretty nice day, a little more low clouds and fog up over the northern Bering Sea, which extended mostly on the south side of St. Lawrence Island and then on up into the strait there with, of course, that kept temperatures lower there in those areas. On the chart today, again, some pretty good sunshine. Temperatures warming in the 70s, some cases the lower 80s, a few isolated spots up over the northwest interior. Mid 70s, inland areas of the Seward Peninsula today. And then the clouds and showers, light wind conditions here across south central Alaska from the Alaska Range areas, clouds extending back to the west. And then some thunderstorm activities kind of in two bands from the northern Kuskokwim Valley up into the Bettles area, and then here right along the border from the eastern upper Yukon Valley on down toward the Northway area. A lot of showers, areas of light rain in places here. Again, south central Alaska with a lot of clouds, and this storm system to the south, a little bit of moisture with a very weak low out over the Aleutians. And for tonight, we'll see this trough edges in closer toward the coastline, but I think the showers will mostly stay off the coast. So have some lingering stuff over here toward the Hyder-Stewart areas. Otherwise, probably mostly cloudy here for this Panhandle. Winds continue light winds south central Alaska. Cloudy skies, could be some lower stuff, IFR developing Cook Inlet, especially up in the Susitna Valley later on or this evening in continuing overnight. Cloudy showers up over the interior, dry, more clearing here in the west, but winds everywhere on the light side. And the moisture here quite a moisture field with this system tonight here, and we'll see tomorrow that lifts up across Kodiak Island for rain and fog the entire day there for the island. Showers developing over the Alaska Range. Cloudy skies, scattered showers south central Alaska, a little more prevalent along the Alaska Range. Maybe a little bit of clearing Copper River Basin, but cloudy skies up over the interior. Again, some thunderstorms possible here along the eastern border, maybe near that low center up to the north, and then still looking pretty good. Some scattered showers now popping up a little farther to the west, but looks mostly sunny there. Norton Sound, Seward Peninsula, northern Yukon Delta, up into the Kelly-Noatak areas up there. And high pressure off the coast here. Could be mostly sunny here over the northern southeast coast, and then variable clouds on down to the south. So it'll be a dry day coming up for the 4th of July tomorrow for just about all the southeast coast and the North Gulf Coast as well. Then we've got the system weakens as it heads eastward, but enough moisture will spread northward. Look for periods of rain, maybe some fog along the North Gulf Coast into Prince William Sound. Kenai Peninsula areas, showers, some of them moderate here over the Alaska Range. Should be pretty showery in the Susitna Valley on up to the park again. And a lot of moisture, embedded thunderstorms along this quite extensive area of green here from eastern Norton Sound right up in across the Yukon Delta to the border. Staying dry for the North Slope with some fair amounts of sunshine, especially back here to the west again. Clouds increase, maybe a few light showers over the Seward Peninsula. Definitely wetter and cloudier and cooler there from St. Lawrence Island down along the southwest coast. High pressure, light winds here for the Aleutians, and really not much for the Bering Sea here. Could start picking up a little bit here over the Pribilof Island associated with this low in this area, maybe 20 knots or so. And for temperatures today, well, starting out on the southeast coast here, 50s and 60s, 64 in the Ketchikan, Annette, Metlakatla area. Same thing at Sitka, 63 in Juneau. Upper 50s, lower 60s, North Gulf Coast, and actually south central Alaska. Kennecott up to 62, Gulkana 68, 69 in Northway. Mid 60s throughout the Tanana Valley areas, and then up to the north, you get in a little more clearing, and temperatures rise into the lower 70s here. Getting a little warmer. At Kiana, I had 77 this afternoon, 70 degrees there at Umiat Airfield and another airfield just to the northwest of them, 40s and 50s on the Arctic coast. Off to the southwest, 60s and 70s here over the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta areas, Bristol Bay, cooling in the 50s over the peninsula, and mid-50s out across the Aleutians. For the lows tonight, 30s there along the Arctic coast, mid to upper. And otherwise, a lot of 50s here over the interior, maybe a few 40s out toward the Seward Peninsula, especially along the coast, warmest right through this area, and 50s mid to upper, south central Alaska, maybe the Copper River Basin, southeast coast, upper 40s, lower 50s. And then the highs tomorrow, mostly in the upper 50s, or mostly in the lower to mid 60s, mid to upper 60s here, south central Alaska. Looks a little warmer for the Susitna Valley, so maybe some clearing going on there, and pretty warm here over the southwest interior. 70s again up over much of the north central interior areas, cooler on the coast, and 50s through the Bering Strait. IFR to start with, IFR pretty, or marginal via IFR for the Susitna Valley, western Prince William Sound, and then a glob off the coast there, Arctic coast, lots of IFR out over the Bering Sea. And that becomes just marginal right along the Alaska Range tomorrow afternoon. Prince William Sound, North Gulf Coast, marginal VFR. IFR continues to hang in over the Bering Sea and now extending up across St. Lawrence Island through the Bering Strait and hugging the coastline all the way over to the Beaufort Sea. And for Anaktuvik, VFR becoming marginal in the afternoon. Same forecast for Adigan, Lake Clark and Merrill, VFR becoming marginal. Rainy, same forecast, and windy, VFR, or marginal VFR becoming VFR into the afternoon. Isabel, VFR, and Mentasta also looking good. Open, Tanita, VFR, Portage, marginal VFR, and Chilkoot and White, VFR. Freezing levels 8 to 10,000 feet here over the interior and 6 to 8,000 feet out over the Bering Sea, and a cooler air mass hanging back to the west there over eastern Russia associated with that upper trough that extends down into the Bering Sea. And for icing areas, mostly above about 9,000 feet here with the main moisture areas from northeast to southwest into the valley, just catching the Alaska Range. And then with that surge of moisture coming up with that next system in across Kodiak Island, possibly Kamishak Bay and Iliamna Lake. Looking at the winds aloft, here's that trough I spoke of out in the Bering Sea. Main jet to the south, 100 knots there, but south of Kodiak Island and the Alaska Peninsula, with a general trough out over all of Bering Sea in the Northwest Pacific. And for 9,000 feet, pretty light here over the interior and variable. High pressure, light winds for the Panhandle, southwesterlies 5 to 15 over the Bering Sea, even lighter down across the Aleutians. 5 to 15 knots here also, westerlies predominantly for the southern Bering Sea and the Aleutians. Light and variable over the interior areas and pretty light for the southeast coast as well. Easterlies kicking up to 20 knots there on the eastern Arctic coast, which results in small craft advisories for the next couple of days up in that area. No turbulence to speak of for tomorrow, so after the break, I'll be back with a look at the marine forecasts.
Okay, Tom, I'm thinking about, you mentioned you should fly on the side of the pass that gives you the best angle of advantage to see through the other side of the pass. But with the wind rolling off the mountains, would that alter your decision on which side of the pass to fly on?
It certainly could. You're looking for a place to fly that's comfortable and smooth, and you're not fighting a severe updraft or downdraft. So yes, you'd change sides if you were in a persistent downdraft that caused you to use a lot of power, or if you were in turbulence that was uncomfortable. Hunt around in the valley for a place that is pleasant flying, as pleasant as you can find, and also gives you room to turn. You always use that as your ultimate criteria. You have to have room to turn around, and you have to have vertical clearance so that you're comfortable with the flight. Cindy, we need to talk just a little bit more about survival gear. Do you have a float coat?
Yeah.
That would certainly be an excellent choice. We can fill the pockets of the float coat with waterproof matches, survival equipment of all sorts. If you didn't have a float coat, it'd be very wise to carry an individual flotation device like this one. And if the size of the airplane and the load permits, even a small individual life raft is good judgment on any flight where you're going over very large lakes or over or adjacent to the ocean. Now, do you have any further questions?
Not that I can think of right now.
All right, you go ahead and finish the flight planning, call the weather and get the sequence, and we'll meet at the airplane.
Okay.
Good morning, Cindy. Are you all ready?
Yeah,
Have you done the pre-flight?
I did it.
All right, we'll be ready to go.
Okay.
That's the path right up there where the lake is. Just beginning to see the lake with the glacier behind it. We'll go past the lake and we'll turn left. You know, on a day like this, you can go up and go straight across. You don't even have to use the path. When the clouds are down below the mountaintop, this is about how you fly it. That's good enough. 25 is going to be just great. Man, isn't it beautiful out here? Just gorgeous today. be able to see out to the left, and there's Whittier. That's the runway you can see. Okay, you can probably ease the flaps back up, I guess, if you want to. We'll go on out the bay a ways and then turn around and come back. Approach this pass, we're going to have a right turn to make to go out. So we'll stay well on the left side of the valley, go right over the city, and then you can tell whether you're going to be able to see around the corner or not. Today there's no question, but some days you have to kind of creep up there and be prepared to turn around in case you can't get through. That surface up there of the glacier just cools the air, causes it to come straight down, and it blows out this canyon with considerable force. You always anticipate considerable downdrafts right as you approach the pass. And you just virtually visualize the wind coming down there just like a river of water, following the contours right down to the ocean. what is the path. The path is, quote, open, unquote. Well, you can see the ocean down there and the beach. So we could have got through the path all right today. But it's sad. This is the kind of day that people get killed trying.
Welcome back. Sea ice analysis for today. A lot of open here with itching its way northward there. That due to the warmer air or the warmer water that's getting into that area and kind of angling back this way too around the shoal. Otherwise, this whole area here continues to decrease and kind of some fluctuation going on here for the eastern Beaufort Sea coastline. And for the marine forecast, west to southwest, just 10 knots tomorrow for the coast here on the north coast. Otherwise, those winds increasing west-northwest 15 to as high as 20 knots down south. Clarence Strait, west 15, 3-foot seas. Otherwise, southerlies for Stevens Passage at 10 knots, and then south 20 for northern Lynn Canal, seas at about 4 feet. And then for Tuesday, those winds kick back up to small craft advisories again, 25 knots out of the south, kind of light and variable, 5 to 15 knot winds for the remainder of the inside waters, and not much difference here off the coast. We've got south at 10 going west 15, and then back to south, quite light, 10 knots with just 4 to 6 foot seas. Prince William Sound, 10 knots, variable, light variable winds extend southwestward there all the way across the Barren Islands. Got south-southwest 10 to 15 for Kodiak Island, south 15 for Kamishak Bay up into Cook Inlet. Then north of the Forelands, kind of a more variable to southwest direction at about 15. And for Tuesday, south to southwest, very light for the inlet, just 10 knots or less. Light variable conditions for Kamishak Bay. Again, across the Barren Islands. All of the North Gulf Coast, very light wind conditions with seas just running 3 to 5 feet. Prince William Sound, no change. And southwesterlies here on both sides of Kodiak Island at about 15 knots with seas over here in the Strait only running at about 3 feet. And heading out west, Bristol Bay, southwest at 10 with very slight seas. A little bit more of a breeze here along the Bering Sea side of the peninsula out of the southwest at about 15 with 3-foot seas. Light variable winds, Sitkinak to Castle Cape and westerlies at 15 with seas at about 6 feet from Castle Cape to Cape Sarachev. For Tuesday, winds increase a little bit here from or on the north side of the peninsula at about 20 knots. Otherwise, southwest 15 for Bristol Bay. Same thing here, southwest of Sitkinak, and then westerlies at 15 and 6-foot seas going on the Pacific side, 3 to 5-foot seas here on the Bering Sea side. And for the Aleutians, eastern Aleutians, southwesterlies 15 to maybe 20 knots with seas running 3 to 5 feet. And actually same thing for the central Aleutians here, but just 10 to 15 knots. Westerlies at about 10, 3 to 4 foot seas, and that's it out here to the west. Then for Tuesday, bring the winds up a little bit here, back to southwest at only 20 knots though, and the seas staying pretty slight, so no small craft advisories at all inside here for the Aleutians. Southwest 10 to 20 here for the central areas, and that about the same speed and direction roughly all the way across on Alaska Island. And along the Arctic coast, we've got brisk wind advisories here for this section of the coastline. And then with the seas at 5 feet over toward demarcation point, east 25, east 20 for the central coast, northeasterlies 20 on the west side. And that extends all the way down to Cape Thompson, Wales to Cape Thompson, kind of swinging around to the southwest at 15. And then for Tuesday, we've got southeast at 10 knots for the St. Lawrence Island area, variable north side of Nunivak Island, southwest 15 for Kuskokwim Bay, back down across the Pribilofs. And up along, again, well, that's for tomorrow, I guess, here, easterlies 20 to 25 knots, west 15. And there we go, Tuesday, that was strange. Anyway, easterlies at 15 knots for the central coast, picking up to 25 knots Tuesday again on the east side, and northeasterlies 10 to 15 knots, pretty light and variable on the west side of the coast. For tonight, again, high pressure, very weak, kind of just default. Got some fair skies, mostly due to a lack of storminess in the presence of any high pressure. A lot of clouds and moisture, showery conditions, about an evening like last evening here for south central Alaska into Prince William Sound. This trough may bring some showers late tonight right along the coast, and that's about it. Otherwise, mostly cloudy. And pretty good day today, but watch for the clouds to increase here, Kodiak Island from the south later on tonight. And no change, lots of IFR with low clouds, fog, drizzle, maybe some light rain, but nothing significant out there over the Aleutians. And then this moisture streams right up across Kodiak tomorrow, periods of rain and fog the entire day. Showers, cloudy skies, southern Alaska here, right up across the central interior. Chances of some thunderstorms again being triggered up over the northeast. And maybe mostly sunny for the northern southeast coast, including Yakutat. No change for the Bering Sea. And again, some sunshine here. Yukon Delta, Seward Peninsula, up across the Noatak Valley areas, maybe the North Slope, and kind of showery for the Brooks Range. That becomes a little more extensive on Tuesday up in this area, extends back toward eastern Norton Sound. Occasional rain for the North Gulf Coast, dry for the Panhandle. Have a great 4th of July. And
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
When shopping for your family's meals, do you know where you can find Alaska-grown products? Everywhere. They're available at your local grocery stores and farmers markets across the state. Alaska-grown products are fresher and more nutritious, and buying local helps grow our economy. So just look for the Alaska-grown label when you shop, or ask your grocer where the Alaska-grown products are. Remember, Alaska-grown. It's closer, fresher, better.
And it's all Alaska-grown.
The National Weather Service.